What's going on, y'all? This Pito back with another book review. I'm extremely hoarse, so bear with me. Today we're reviewing Greenlights by Matthew McConaughey. I'm super excited about this book. It definitely was an interesting read. If y'all did read it, let me know what y'all think. It's Pito back with another book review. Please bear with me. I can't stop. Let's get it. What's going on, y'all? This Pito. If you into books, you into reading, you into learning, hearing things that you never heard, stories that you never heard, and learning to work on your mental health to develop it, becoming a better person, a better man, a better son, a better father, follow me, subscribe. Help me get my subscribers up. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Right now I'm at like 2. But nah, in all seriousness, if you're really into the things that I'm into, follow me. I'm going to be dropping dope content all the time. It's Pito. Check me out. Follow me. Engage with me. Let me know. Y'all want to read some books? What y'all want to talk about? I'm here. Pito. Let's get it. So in Matthew McConaughey's book, he talk about his childhood and how he was raised, and he talk about his mom and his dad. And he talked about how his mom was and how his dad was and how their relationship was together. And he went into how toxic their relationship was. And I always thought that was an interesting dynamic of how he described and how he went into detail how his mom and dad got along. And he talked about how they would literally get into the worst fights. They would go back and forth. They would argue. She would break his nose and he would break her finger, and then they would make love right in the middle of the kitchen. Like just crazy madness and how their dynamic was, but that's how they worked. And he said they were married and divorced multiple times. And that was just a part of their dynamic. That's how they show love to each other. And I definitely thought that was insane, because I can't be with nobody that I'm physically like abusing me or trying to anyway, or I feel the need to feel loved by abuse. So I just thought that was crazy. No judgment, just, it was an interesting part of this book. Also talked about in this book how when he was younger as a kid, he threatened to run away a few times because he was tired of his mom and stuff like that. And not ironically, but funny enough, his mom was like, okay, sure, and packed the bag for him to leave. And I just thought that was hilarious. Like, okay, you threatening to run away, then I'll pack your bag for you. Like, come on, I got you. I expedite this process for you. That's just another funny part that I thought was in this book. Also, in Matthew McConaughey's book, he talked about how he lost his virginity when he was like 15 years old. And it wasn't like a pleasant experience from my understanding. He also talked about how he was sexually assaulted by another man when he was 18, in the back of a van. He was some sort of drugged or something to that extent, and he was just saying how a horrible experience it was. He didn't go into much detail, but he did speak on it briefly. But it's just crazy how in these days and times, people could just be taking advantage of anybody. Like, nobody's safe out here in these streets. It's not funny. I'm sorry I laughed, but I just made it a little joke to try to make it a little bit more lighthearted. And again, please forgive me for being hoarse, In Matthew McConaughey's book, another thing that I really love about it was how he went into the title. And the title of the book, if you didn't know, is called Greenlights. And I love how he went into detail and explaining the difference between green lights, yellow lights, and red lights, and the significance of a green light and the significance of a yellow light, and the same thing with a red light. And it definitely was a very profound explanation and a perspective to have. It definitely was enlightening on how he talked about each individual light and how it all could eventually lead to green lights. So if you did read the book, let me know what you thought about his theory on green lights, yellow lights, and red lights. By the way, which I do agree with what he was saying about each individual light. So if you did read it, let me know what you think. Also in Matthew McConaughey's book, he talked about how he had a case against a skincare company that his mom was working for at a particular time in their life, and how he started using a product and it broke his skin out horribly bad. So he ended up going to the doctor, and the doctor was like, what did you put on your skin? And he explained it to him. So the doctor ended up explaining to him how the product was blocking all of his pores. So it was creating all these crazy pimples and really messed up his skin really bad. So his dad was like, we have a case, we're going to sue, we're going to get some money. So it was like a home run case where they knew they was going to get like $20,000. And this was back then, so it was good money. So, excuse me again. So they started going to the doctor, getting therapy, and he stopped using the product, and his skin started clearing up immediately. He started looking better, started doing good. So they went to court. They knew they had a slam dunk case. But when they went to court, the opposing lawyer brought the yearbook of Matthew McConaughey's high school. So when he brought the yearbook, he showed that Matthew McConaughey had actually won most handsome in his class. And he was like, you cannot be so damaged and so distraught and really had these issues with this skincare product where you're such a beautiful person and you won best looking. So the judge ended up throwing the case out, and Matthew McConaughey's dad was pissed. Like, damn it, boy, you made me miss out on my $20,000. So that was definitely a funny part of the book as well. Also, in Matthew McConaughey's book, again, forgive me for my voice, a little under the weather, but I'm gonna thug it out for y'all. He talked about how he wanted to be a foreign exchange student, and he went to Australia for a year. And he went there, and the family was explaining to him how amazing their place was, how they lived on the beach, not far from the city, and it was gonna be amazing for him. So he was super excited, super ready to go. So once he got there, he was like, oh, this is gonna be amazing. So they drove past the city. He was like, I thought you guys lived close to the city. They was like, yeah, we do. So they went a little further, like 30 minutes later, they got to the beach. He's like, okay, well, I could do this. This is pretty nice. But they kept going. He's like, I thought y'all lived near the city or the beach. They was like, yeah, a little further. So they ended up driving like another hour and a half away from the city and the beach to like this really small little town. And he was pissed, like, y'all lied to me. I thought y'all lived in, but he was like, you know what? It's okay. I'm gonna make it work. And he went into detail how him and the family, or the dad, wasn't getting along at all. How uncomfortable it was, and how he would kind of shut down any ideas of America, from my understanding. And how Matthew McConaughey became so depressed. He started running like 6 miles a day. He stopped eating meat. He started eating like lettuce and just ketchup, and how he lost so much weight, and he was so depressed there. So he asked, could he finally leave? And they was like, yeah, you can put you with another family. So they granted him to leave with another family for the rest of his time in Australia. And he got with the new family. He was so excited. He was so relieved. And he was like, the family was like, I don't know how the hell you live with that crazy family all that time. And Matthew McConaughey was like, you fucking knew how crazy they was, and y'all let me stay? Are you serious? And it just turned into a whole big laugh, and it was just a funny part of the book. If you dare read it, let me know what you think. And he also said that the kid that came to America took his place, like drunk all his beer, was driving his truck everywhere, and like got a couple girls pregnant, I believe. He was like this fucker at the time of his life. Also, in Matthew McConaughey's book, he talked about how he was waiting tables at a black restaurant, and how it was called Catfish Station, and how one of the waitress that was there was beautiful black waitress, and he was saying like everybody would come see her, and he would always like, go there too as well until he asked for a job. But once he got a job there, the black waiter was pissed, like, you're not gonna be taking my tips, just get out of my way, don't be in my way. And he was saying like she was so beautiful, but even when he would try to push up on her, she would never give him play. And he was just talking about how he got indoctrinated and eventually started getting cool with all of the people and started making good tips, and how it was a good benefit to his life, because I believe he got his first role from that job at Catfish Station in the black restaurant, which I thought was dope, because you never know people's history, and I didn't know that about him either. In Matthew McConaughey's book, he says he had a lot of dope one-liners, a lot of bars, as you know I always say. And one of the things he used to say in his book was, do not create imaginary restraints. And I thought that was amazing, because in life we have so many different imaginary obstacles or reasons why we cannot achieve, why we cannot lose the weight, why we cannot get educated, why we can't stop cussing, stop smoking, stop drinking. All of these different reasons there, and they're just in our head, and they really put a block on people from really achieving their lifelong dreams and goals, just because we have this belief system that is alive for most part. And that was definitely one of the dope lines that he said was, do not create imaginary restraints. I love that line. Also in Matthew McConaughey's book, he talked about like don't think about the finish line. Another one of the bars he was dropping. There was so many of them. He was saying don't think about the finish line because the process is the finish line. There is not ever an ending or like an I have arrived moment. We're constantly learning, we constantly evolving, we constantly growing. And that's the key to life from my belief as a man. That I always believe that my goal in here is to learn, is to evolve, is to grow, is to love, is to have an experience to really grow and evolve and think and like love each other. And I really believe that as a man. And when he talk about don't pay attention to the finish line, the process is the finish line. I just thought that was an amazing perspective and thought process to have. And if you have read it or if you have heard this before, almost like Lil Wayne, No Ceilings, like that kind of thought process. If you have heard that before, let me know what you think in the comment section. You with me? Another funny part in Matthew McConaughey's book, Greenlights, he talked about going into a spiritual retreat. And I thought it was hilarious how he talked about it because he said he was out there for 4 hours talking to one of the spiritual guides and how he was venting about Hollywood and his life and his career and how things was going, things he did, like things he didn't like, lustful thoughts and ideas and all kinds of stuff. He said for 4 hours he out there talking to that man walking around and the man didn't say one thing. And to the very end, he was like, he finally finished and he let the man talk. And the man was, the only thing the man said was, me too. And it made him feel so included, like he wasn't the only one that was dealing with these issues, no matter how spiritual or how holy or how much you're supposed to be on this high like level in life. You still have human thoughts and human feelings and human emotions. So it just was funny when he said that. Like I sat there for 4 hours talking to this man and all he said was, me too. I thought that was hilarious. Another thing in Matthew McConaughey's book that he talked about was having wet dreams. Like, yeah, wet dreams. And it was crazy how he went into detail about certain dreams he had and how he would actually go on certain retreats in different countries in South America and go on these long journeys through the wood, through the rainforest and things of these natures and trying to figure out the meaning behind some of these dreams he would have, and these experiences would bring him some sort of enlightenment and understanding from a different perspective outside of the typical just Googling or reading a book or anything like that. And it was just amazing that he's even able and capable to make these types of trips just to have a better understanding of what is going on with him in his psychosis. I just thought that was dope. Another part of the book that I really thought was so. In conclusion, the book Greenlights by Matthew McConaughey really gave me a perspective of no matter how much money you got, no matter how successful you are, no matter where you come from, and no matter your upbringing, we all have to put in that work. We all have to do better. We all have human emotions. Nobody is better than anybody else. Nobody escapes or get away with anything. We have to be better. We have to show love. We have to really hold ourselves accountable. No matter what aspect of your life, it's always a price to pay that we got to deliver and pay that price every day. And like, no matter what, you got to put in that work and not look at the finish line and not think that one day we just gonna have this magical moment of like, I'm here, I arrived, it's done. It's like, nah, you gotta keep banging away, keep putting in that work and keep focusing and trying to evolve and trying to do better. Keep trying to get that weight off, keep trying to stop smoking, keep trying to stop cussing, keep trying to be a better father, a better brother, a better husband, a better son, and everything. And that's really the key to everything, is just trying to evolve and grow and really have a better understanding of our human experience. And that was one thing that I definitely got from this book. It was a really good book, a really good read. If you have read it, let me know what you think. It's Pedo reading Greenlights by Matthew McConaughey. His memoir definitely was dope. And if you have read it, let me know what you think in the comment section. It's Pedo. I'm out.